Have you heard the theory of the empty internet? It's out there. It seems a bit far-fetched at first glance, and yet, lately, if you look at news and entertainment news, business news, various types of sports reporting, starting to seem more likely. Let's take a look at some business information I came across today. Here we go. The story headline seems quite innocuous. In fact, it seems pretty well written for a change, considering a lot of times we see things written by so-called journalists that clearly didn't make it through any form of editing process. It doesn't have proper punctuation, grammar, etc., etc. And that's fine. I mean, I don't always speak properly, at least when it comes to doing things on the internet, so I have a little bit of forgiveness. And yet, sometimes you run across something that's well put together, but it still seems foreign. Today's example comes from the Associated Press. Here we have a story about Southwest Airlines as revenue soars at Southwest despite hit from the global crisis. And again, pretty straightforward headline, seems to work well within a story, but as we go through it, it comes out of Dallas, the AP. It says passenger revenue almost tripled, and Southwest Airlines posted a smaller loss than most had expected, despite slowing air traffic in the third quarter with the spread of the latest variant. Net income was $446 million, or 73 cents per share, bouncing back from a loss over the same period last year. Well, of course, there was very little air traffic, and they were keeping all their middle seats empty on Southwest, so that makes sense. There was a one-time cost that drove the per-share loss of 23 cents, but that's not as bad as the per-share loss of 27 cents that Wall Street had expected, according to a survey from Zacks Investment Research. So it even cites a source. That's pretty cool. Third quarter 2021 was a challenge for us operationally, said CEO and Chairman Gary Kelly in a prepared statement. Despite the deceleration of traffic in August and September due to the surging global crisis cases, the third quarter of 2021 demand and revenue performance was quite strong and a dramatic improvement over a year ago. That was a bright and encouraging sign of recovery. Again, straight from a press release from a statement from CEO and Chairman Gary Kelly. Again, well cited, perfectly quoted. Revenue was $4.68 billion, also better than expected. Here's the thing that I didn't expect at the bottom of the story. Under its end line, it says, a portion of this story was generated by automated insights. It gives you access to that. I found that quite interesting. So I did more research. Now, as you know, I participate on Comics Division's channel in a couple of shows during the week. On Mondays, we do Yelling at Parked Cars, and on Thursdays, it's Thursday Throwdown. And the subjects vary widely from one show to another. One's more humor-based, one's a little more serious. We have a very dedicated audience, which we absolutely appreciate, especially Toxic Man Flu and a few others like Terminus Est. And everybody that's there, it's incredible. We have Islington Girl and just a ton of people that are there regularly, and we truly appreciate them. But we've talked about subjects about AI generating stories. In fact, we experimented with one of which was very probable. So when I came across this automated insights thing, it definitely piqued my interest. And as I said, I went investigating. So I found something from the AP itself, which said the Associated Press used NLG to automate NCAA Division I men's previews during the 2018 season. This was allowing their journalists to focus on writing critical and qualitative articles. Okay, interesting. What's NLG? Well, NLG is natural language generation, which sounds kind of funny, right? Well, that's because it's AI. And I'll give you an example. So these are the reasons that Associated Press is using this, and it says the following. The challenge, time constraints. For years, journalists at the Associated Press have had little time to focus on hard-hitting journalistic pieces and instead spent many hours each quarter producing financial reports. Interesting. During that time, AP only had the capacity to produce about 300 financial reports a quarter, leaving thousands of potential company earnings reports completely unwritten. Well, that makes a lot of sense. USA Today's Roger Yu referred to this time of crunching data and running on tight deadlines as the quarterly bane of existence of many business reporters. And that makes a lot of sense. There are a lot of numbers to break down, and believe me, I know exactly how much time goes into producing, analytical content, especially around the entertainment industry and its business practices. So I can't even imagine what a financial reporter would have to go through that they focus strictly on all these companies. So it makes a lot of sense. Of course, they come up with the solution. And the solution here is automated stories. Well, there's the key. The Associated Press found answers in automation with Wordsmith platform from Automated Insights. Well, that makes sense. Wordsmith uses natural language generation to turn data into insightful, human-sounding narrative. There's the words, human-sounding. So essentially what they're saying is AP can now produce about 4,400 quarterly earnings stories, an almost 15-fold increase over its manual efforts. Well, no kidding. From 300 to 4,400. All because they have a way of taking data from Zacks, obviously, and turning it into data-driven stories. And that, of course, has freed up their journalists to actually write articles. You know that they're absolutely thrilled with this, but they're not just using it there. This just happens to be an example that I found. I'm very concerned that this is being used across the industry widely. We saw that sometimes the AI pumps out something that's logical and makes sense. Again, these are experiments that we did over on Comics Division's channel. And then we found that sometimes it's just a bunch of gobbledygook, a bunch of sentences, and it pulls and it finds and just within the subject matter. I'm concerned that we're going to start seeing more and more of this, where we're no longer getting information from people that's well researched, cited, interviews are conducted, etc., etc. We're just going to see completely data-driven stories, which is a problem because, as you can see from data-driven content mapping that's done by many of these mega entertainment corps like Disney and many others, you end up with complete garbage at the end. And the problem is when you give it garbage data, you get garbage data out. And I think that's going to continue to contribute to all these problems that we have with divisiveness, the claims of misinformation, and many of these other problems. Maybe I'm wrong here. I don't think I am. But the question is, what do you think? Do you think that this is an acceptable use of a news organization, or acceptable use by a news organization? Probably the better question. Do you think that it's okay for us to get our information just from data sources, where even if the data is wrong a little bit, or it cites something that's just completely off the wall gobbledygook, that's going to end up being authoritative content? I think I have problems with that. Let me know what you think. Go ahead and use the comments section down below. I truly appreciate it. Also, be sure to support independent content creators out there. We have a lot of them. A lot of people that absolutely are on the cusp of making it into the YouTube monetization program. Of course, George the Giant Slayer is well on his way, and he's produced his first video. You can check that out on his channel. It premiered just a few days ago, and it is well worth your time. You also have smaller content creators that are up and coming, like Mr. Grant Gregory and obviously Bigglesmets. A lot of people that have channels that definitely need your support. So do support those independent creators. Not only would I appreciate it, I know they would too. Be sure to like this video. If you're not subscribed, do consider subscribing. I would appreciate it. And if you are considering becoming a member, please do. We're going to have a member stream coming up here shortly, so do check the community tab if you are a member. Other than that, I'll end the video the same way I always do. Be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others. Wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. It truly is. And shout out to Master of the TDS for the new intro after the cold open. Thanks for that, buddy. And until next time, bye.
Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can, as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.